do you want to hear Eric Bischoff's take on the whole thing first before we get into it, or are you just like it? I want to just come and spill some beans, or what? How do you want to do this?
Oh, I'll spill beans because I've heard two potential solutions from a source.
Yep.
Well, the first one that I've heard is that this TV deal.
Dynamite is the
sorry,
and
he couldn't help himself. Eric couldn't help himself.
That wasn't even a video. He just actually turned up in the background. Well, yeah. So the first thing I'm hearing is that this new TV deal, it's for broadcast. There's no financial terms in it, and that the money is actually being self-financed.
Okay, so that would so what do you think of the rumors that they have like an investment in it, WBD? Would that lend itself to what you're saying, or
see, I heard that rumor, but at the same time, I think it was last year or the year before, WBD opened up talks to buy Raw. And there's no, and WWE always have a, what's the term, exclusivity or priority put in their contracts.
Yep.
So like, even if just say you're a toothbrush company and you want to make some WWE toothbrushes, they'll be like, okay, but it's only us and you can't make it with anybody else that's from pro wrestling. So like Warner were going to drop AEW.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's kind of weird that if you add up this 4-year deal that they say it's $170 million a year, that's $680 million.
Yeah, that's insane, dude.
Yeah, and that's why I think, according to a source, that they got be pretty much the same deal as before, but somebody, I don't know who, put their own dad's money into this deal as a sort of a budget to cover up any potential embarrassment in the media.
Yeah, because basically, they're saying, oh, it'll be for 170 million. And, the whole thing is even their stooges like Brandon Thurston and them have said, and shout out WrestleNomics, but they've said, oh, they lost 153 million. And then it's come out like, oh, the talent budget is however much money. I think it was like over 100 million or something. So, yeah, like 170 million. I could see his dad just throwing that back into AEW, no?
Yeah, and that's the insane thing about this is that the cons actually could, as disgusting as it sounds, they could literally set fire to $500 million tomorrow and they'll sleep okay. They'll be like, yeah, we've got 57 billion left. I also did a bit of nerdy math for this sort of stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
So if they have the 4 TV shows, it's with Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, and Ring of Honor, just say.
Mm-hmm.
If you divide that by 4, that comes down to only 42 million per show for a year. And then if you divide that by 52, episodes per year, it's again only 800,000 budget per show, which I think is when each Dynamite is 900,000 to $1 million.
Yeah.
So while it's a lot of money, at the same time, it's kind of not that it's a bad thing.
So, okay, well, let's listen to. So Eric Bischoff. We got to remember. I want to listen to this with you and get your reaction. Eric Bischoff, Eazy-E. You got to remember he's. I believe this is a stat. He's closed more TV deals than anyone in like pro wrestling as like a major promoter or whatever. I don't know, maybe that's false, whatever, but either way, let's just hear what Eazy-E has to say. And yes, it's a burial of AEW, but he does keep it real here about this stuff. And I just want to get your reaction to this.
The Dynamite is the
your reaction, Husey, your reaction.
Well, here's some scoop. I've literally never watched 1 minute of AEW.
Okay. And why is
But
that?
because I'm at that age. Would you ever get when you get to an age where you're like, I don't need to make new friends. I'll try and maintain the ones that I have. And as I get older, because I'll be 40 this December,
Yeah.
and it's like, I'm okay. I don't need to make 17 new friends. So with AEW, it's like, that's for you. I'll just stick to nostalgia for me, please.
Yeah. And are you
But
into like current WWE, or are you just no, not for me?
I'll watch the pay-per-views when they're at a reasonable time for me. Like I'm not going to stay up to 7 a.m. to watch Bad Blood unless Jade Cargill's on it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So you watch SmackDown, is what you're saying then?
Oh, they're smacking down. Get it?
Okay, let's listen easy.
Hey, if you like it, if you just like watching wrestling for the sake of watching wrestling and you don't really care about character development, you don't care about storylines, or you're willing to accept boy meets girl, boy gets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back as a storyline, then good for you. I'm happy for you. You know, Tony Khan and AEW could figure out a way to make money off of you, even better. But the vast majority of the audience,
see, to me, that needs to be pointed out. It's like people will say that to you. Oh, well, this is the story. And it's like when people say there's no stories in AEW, that's what they mean, folks. They mean the stories are so amateurish and trash that it doesn't quantify as an actual story, you know, to people who can come up with or are used to seeing or want to consume compelling stories. You know what I mean? So it's
I think that's actually kind of unfair because on Keeping Them 100 the other day they played a clip of Ricochet confronting Will Ospreay, and Ricochet said, "Hey, I heard you were talking," and it's like, gotta watch it, gotta buy tickets.
Oh shit!
Wants a show that is compelling characters, compelling story, real story, not boy meets girl stories. Dog crosses dude, see Spot run. Oh, Spot sees Dick. Dick's hanging out with Jane. Dick and Jane take Spot for a walk. That's a story. That's and if that's enough for you as an AEW fan, then go with God. But the vast majority of the audience isn't buying it. And it's not just my opinion. It's numbers, and they're out there. Go look at WrestleNomics. Go look at the trends. Go look at where Collision or Rampage or Dynamite are this year versus last year. We're talking 25, 30, 38% declines in plus twos or
right. So he's spot on with all of that, more or less. And but here's the thing is that this Puck, there was like an article, Puck News or something, and they report on like more business oriented stuff, not so much like they don't give a fuck about the IWC, you know what I'm saying, Husey? So they said that they were the ones reporting that there was going to be talks of this $170 million deal, etc. What do you make of that? Like it's sort of outside of the wrestling world that there's some deal about to close, or you just think it's the same thing, just the money's being thrown in though?
Yeah, I just think it's the same old story with them. Like we've heard numbers, like the $1 billion number we heard about a year ago. Yeah, and it really is a case of it's almost like panic numbers. It's like, well, what's a believable number we can say? It's like if somebody lies about how many girls they got on a vacation, they go, four. It's like, okay, 4 in 2 weeks, pretty believable, instead of 75. That's what I think. This is what it's come to. It's that Tony got the gift of a lifetime by his dad. He got the first ever 4D version of General Manager mode.
Yeah.
Now it's time to upgrade the software, and he's like, "Oh, this is real." And here's the other thing is that everybody knows that with the cons running AEW, it's never going to shut down ever.
Exactly.
Like they have all these critics and haters online going, "Oh, they're going to get kicked off TV and they're going to shut down tomorrow and they'll never go bankrupt." It's physical. Well, it's not impossible, but they will not go bankrupt for maybe a decade, if even that. And even if they do get kicked off TV, then they can just go straight to YouTube, and that way they can completely control all income. I'm just so cautious about this kind of stuff, because when you're that rich, you have a lot of the media in your back pocket. Yeah. And I'm not naming names, but I know a journalist who reports on wrestling news stuff, who flat out told me in an interview we did and in a DM that he's, let's just say, asked not to negatively criticize AEW publicly.
Damn. And he's like someone we'd all know.
Yes, and if he ever turns out to be a dick, he is getting doxxed.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Well, speaking of like pricks and I don't know, man, just people who journalists, I guess there was, so Meltzer Said What is a great account at Meltzer Said What. All the pre-tweeting of self-congratulations after the AEW TV deal. Puck report is hilarious. When back in May, they were all running with conspiracies about Puck because Nick Khan had been on a podcast. You're not slick. You didn't predict anything I didn't say 3 years ago. And so basically, I believe this is the Observer, if I'm not mistaken. And Meltzer Said what he does a great job of is compiling. Are you familiar with the account at all, Husey?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I don't got to explain it to you. So, several updates are available regarding a new AEW media rights deal with WBD. John Aurand of Puck News published a report yesterday stating that a formal announcement of the long-awaited deal could come as soon as next week, barring any last-minute changes. And then here we go. They're basically quoting it. Our own Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez discuss Aurand, I'm not sure how to say that name, report on today's episode of Wrestling Observer, with Meltzer noting a key part of the deal will be whether AEW's pay-per-views are included in what WWE receives for the $170 million, which Husey is saying that $170 million is like, here, don't be embarrassed, son, $170 million, which, and they're saying annually, so that's each year. Pretty crazy if it's true, but Dave goes, actually, if it's, 170 million, not including the, Tony Khan pay-per-view, that's one number. If that includes the pay-per-views, it's not as big of an increase. It's not really technically doubling of the rights fees they'd received previously, but it would be a substantial increase, Meltzer said on the show. Well,
best guys, Tony Khan.
See, that's another thing that baffles me, because I'm a bit of a film geek as well, or should I say Mark. And the fact that Warner Brothers this year alone have lost $10 billion, and I was just reading they had to shut their video game division down because they were losing so much money on it. And then there's all this talk that they're canceling contracts for a lot of their film franchises and TV shows because they can't afford it. So they're going to be like, hey, DC or Harry Potter, we don't want to make video games about you, but that Rampage show, we need to spend nearly $700 million to make sure that we get more Kyle Fletcher promos.
Dude, you're so right, man. And they have, if you look up the last year or so, and I'm a writer myself, and I'm telling you, man, they downsized a bunch in the comic space and everything, man. Warner, downsized offices for a lot of folks with, other things, subsidiary companies and stuff like that. So, man, it's crazy.
And I don't know if you've heard that they're apparently really tightening their belt for this new Superman, because they've spent a ridiculously over the top fortune on it, because this was before the new Mad Max came out and bombed. This was before the The Suicide Squad game cost them hundreds of millions. And so they gave this new Superman an insane budget. So I'm guessing they're sitting back thinking, we're going to be in the black, or maybe the red, I should say, for years to come. So where this money came from, I'm stunned. Or should I say, I can't believe it.
Dude, they have to be bought in. That's the only reason I could see them still going like, okay, well, we can salvage some money off the pay-per-views from this show, and we at least bring in a little bit of ad money on our side or something. Like, I don't know the nitty-gritty of how all that works, but there's got to be more to it than is on the surface. And I don't know. I've been hearing like if they own 25% or less of AEW, they don't even have to disclose it publicly. So I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are speculating that could be the case because there could be some truth to that, right? Like, or would they just try and sell off their chunk? The thing is that you're saying too, man, that 10 billion, they were like hiding that from investors too. Like that's what people don't understand, man. People didn't realize they were in the hole as much as they are, like Warner. So, man, people are saying it might be like absolved or all like sold off in chunks and stuff like that. So who really even knows what happens? But I agree with what you said earlier. I say it I preach it from the mountaintops. As long as Tony Khan's alive, AEW will exist, even if it's on YouTube, even if it's on Rumble, bro. They'll put that on Twitch if they have to. They'll figure out how to get the show out there on the air. I'm not saying they'll run the big buildings forever. I don't even understand how they're still doing that. But the whole TV side of thing, yeah, it's a lot of fishiness. But I do believe. See, I like what you came in and said, like it's just self-funded, but. Like, yes, they're not going to be off TV. They're not going to get canceled. They are going to get multiple years with TBS. I could totally see that, especially because wrestling is hot in general. So if AEW can figure it out, like maybe they'll feel some of that boom. But it's not a coincidence that AEW and New Japan are working together, and those are the two companies that seem to be like in a lull. Everywhere else is feeling the boom. Like MLW is getting hot right now. You know, I don't know, man. It just seems and you just said it. A reporter told you that they basically shill. I feel Meltzer's a shill. I don't know if that's who you were referring to or not, but let's just I'll lump them all together. These dirt sheet guys, they think they're helping and they're not either. That's what really irks me, and that's why I do this on my show. You know, I roast these.
Yeah, and the thing that I don't get is why would Tony Khan suddenly become this unbelievable businessman? Because did you hear about the numbers that was spent on the video game?
Oh, dude, like, yeah, I heard stuff that a lot of people go, there's no proof of that. But yeah, I heard like 80 million upwards total to like get that out there. But that could be all made up.
Well, we broke the numbers on, the numbers were broken on Keeping 100 by, again, a genuinely good source. A big time YouTube gamer give us the info because he's got all that inside connection stuff. There was 80 million spent on the engine alone, which is a demented piece of business to do. Like to literally want your own software created for this game. It was just like what the is wrong with you?
It's so nuts.
And then on top of that, they had to spend money to actually then design the game after the 80 million. So the spending went up to 115 million on a game. And then they had the best idea of all. And this is how I know they're geniuses. They decided to put in a live service online thing after the game had already tanked.
Dude, they were dead set on adding all those goofy ass game modes into. You could tell because they keep releasing stuff for it, and you're like, "Come on, man, nobody's playing this," you know?
Yeah, so I would be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if they spent say 130 million on that game alone. Like it's just really just like how could anybody think? Yeah, keep putting money into that game. It's working. It's like no, it's not working. You're a four-eyed idiot.
So the Puck report from longtime Hollywood insider Matt Belloni stated that his source indicated Khan was disappointed with WBD's first offer and that the exclusive negotiating window between both sides was coming up in July. He also reported that both WBD head David Zaslav and TNT Sports head Louis Silberwasser want to keep all three AEW shows after the reporting. So apparently Rampage is getting scrapped though. So anyways, Belloni is longtime friends with WWE CEO Nick Khan, and that Belloni has had Khan on his podcast before, leading some to believe it was a planted piece. So what Meltzer said, did a brilliant job of doing here is he just pieced together how Meltzer and these guys want to run with this Puck report that people are saying, it's legit because it's for nerdy kind of Business Insider-y guys, right? And so, but then he's also highlighting how before Observer tried to say when they were reporting on WWE, they're friends with Nick Khan, so it's you can't tell if they're legit or not, But now they want to say, like Meltzer wants to turn around and go, oh, this report's more than likely legit about AEW, about this 170 million and et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know, guys. We'll play a flute for Meltzer on that one because he's a dummy. But, couldn't find my Harry Potter flute, but yeah, I don't know, man. You guys judge that for yourselves. But yeah, Husey, what do you make of all this? Last minute predictions, I guess, for you.
Yeah, I think they're going to announce that it's a massive contract for a TV extension, and that's as far as they'll go. Because they're not a public company, they could say, "Oh, we were given 12 billion trillion zillion." Per minute of the show. It's like, well, we can't see the details, and we would have to believe him. But at the same time, when you hear about the budgets of the spending, and then the thing I've heard recently, which is, to be honest, I would take the money in a second, is that Tony Khan is off.
Yes.
Yeah. He's offering people $4 to $5 million contracts for 4 to 5 years. So it's like, so hang on, if I'm getting 20 to 25 million to do nothing to really earn that money, sold. I love AEW. I'm Tony Khan's snowman, whatever he needs. And that's what he's doing. He's basically saying to people, hello, I'm Miro, and I'm thinking of leaving. Here's $5 million. I'm going to chill out. I'll stay here, Tony. Whatever money they're going to get, if it is and you just say the 170 is real, they're still not going to be profitable because of the spending. Plus, did you hear? And this was a great email that Keep 100 got, that apparently Roman Reigns' contract with WWE is up for negotiation next year. Next, and what would stop Tony Khan from for real, just going, "Hey, Roman Reigns, here's $100 million a year for 5 years."
No, I don't think he would give him that much, dude. But like, hold on a second. If his contract's up for negotiation, dude, how much do you realistically think Tony would? Are you 100 million, or like realistically, what do you think would get Roman even thinking about going over there? 20 million a year. Come here.
Yeah, I think he would probably give him like 5 million a month.
5 million a month. That's crazy, dude. Yeah, or like per appearance. Yo, you get 3 million per appearance, Roman. Something like that, crazy, like unheard of money. Because you got to think, man, he spent like 5 to 10 on Monet, whatever you want to believe. Here's the thing. I don't like to be like, I don't want to know about people's like divorces and personal lives and like that. But I want to know about this private company, what they're paying these wrestlers. I want to know the text between Tony and Dave Meltzer. Those are the things that I want to know so badly. And like this whole Kevin Kelly lawsuit too might unveil some of that, hopefully, down the line. That's all I'm saying, man.
Well, there's I've unofficially been told by some guy, I can't remember his name,
Yeah.
that in AEW you can get a lot of extra pay to get over certain stuff. Like just say for example, just pulling names out of a hat. Just say you were in a match with Sammy Guevara, and there was a really bad botch where you fell off a platform and hit your head off the concrete and were knocked out live on the pay-per-view. Instead of going for I don't know, like surgery, they would say, listen, let me buy you that fourth house you've always wanted. Let me get new shoes for your butler that will be making your eggs for the next year. Don't worry about it. I can afford it. And I've also heard, allegedly,
you guys, he's saying money will delete some problems in Tony Khan's
exactly.
world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's hardy to turn that down. You know, but I've also heard that Tony Khan finances the Fozzy tour.
Oh my God, that would make so much sense, dude. I've conspiracy theorized that myself. You know what I mean? Let's hear it. Tell me, Easy.
I remember going to see Fozzy at the Limelight in Belfast, and it's like a 900 to 800 person holding venue, and their tour bus was like something Homer Simpson would fantasize about, because you were like, look at that tour bus, holy. And I was like, there's no way Jericho's paying for that, and there's no way Fozzy's making enough money to get something like that. And I was thinking, it's gotta be Tony Khan. He's gotta be paying for all this stuff.
Man, people think Jericho is bought into AEW as well, like he owns a piece or something like that.
I doubt he would. I think he would have been given a piece of AEW instead of buying it. Like Jericho. So many people hate him online, but at the same time, he's an incredible what they call a real life worker. He knows how to charm fans. He knows how to work people into getting paid the most. They feel like Jericho will go down probably as the greatest behind the scenes worker ever. He's all about the money. He's getting paid a fortune. He's around on live TV to empty venues, and he's probably getting what, $8 million a year, probably.
Yeah, and he gets to tour with Fozzy and play his songs in Wembley.
Yeah, and I'm
himself for the ring, dude.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Jericho is the reason why Tony Khan grew that pineapple hair, because Jericho said, listen, my wig's becoming way more obvious. You need to get out there and make yourself look like a complete cunt. And Tony Khan succeeded in that.